Coming up on Arirang News, recovering from Monday's plunge, Seoul's benchmark Kospi and the tech-heavy Kosdaq saw upward surges, triggering sidecars to be activated in both indices for the first time since 2020. South Korean tech giant SK Hynix is to receive $450 million in grants from the U.S. government for an advanced memory packaging plant in Indiana. Korean educators from around the world gather at the 16th edition of the World Korean Educator Conference to share their experiences amid growing interest and demand to learn Korean. Thank you for joining Arirang News. I'm Kim Bo-kyung. We begin with the local stock market closing with a sharp rebound today after a big collapse on Monday. The surge led to trading curves shortly after markets opened. Moon Hae-ryun has the details.
South Korea's stock market showed a steep climb following Black Monday, which saw the country's worst trading session since the global financial crisis of 2008. According to the Korea Exchange on Tuesday, the Kospi closed at just over 2,522, 3.3% higher than the previous day's close, while the secondary tech-heavy Kosdaq ended the session at over 732, up by more than 6%. Just minutes into the day's trading session, a 5-minute sidecar trading curve was activated for both markets to prevent steep price movements as they showed rapid gains. It's the first time since June 2020 that the sidecar has been activated over a surge in the main Kospi. This comes following sharp declines the previous day with the circuit breaker trading curve activated for the first time in some 4 years. On Monday, the Kospi ended the session after falling by more than 8%, while the Kosdaq closed after shedding over 11%. Concerns of a slowdown in the world's biggest economy following on from weak U.S. employment data in turn caused widespread panic in the South Korean market, especially with the U.S. becoming the country's biggest export destination.
Because of the panic that was taking place in the U.S. markets, a lot of foreign investors withdrew money from the Korean stock market.
Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix tracked heavy losses on Monday, with the former falling by more than 10%, but Tuesday showed them regaining their losses.
Because both Hynix and Samsung depend so much on the U.S. market, that probably had an additional effect on their volatility.
To stabilize the market and calm investor sentiment, Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok held an emergency macroeconomic and financial affairs meeting with the head of the central bank, the Financial Services Commission chairman, and the Financial Supervisory Service governor. Choi reaffirmed the operation of an around-the-clock monitoring system to respond with contingency plans if necessary. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
Over in the U.S., Wall Street lost more ground on Monday, weighed down by concerns over a potential recession. Shin Ha-young has more.
Wall Street has suffered its worst day in almost 2 years due to fears of economic recession in the U.S. The Dow Jones on Monday fell 2.6% and the S&P closed down 3%, both marking the biggest daily drop since September 2022. The tech-heavy Nasdaq lost 3.4%. On the same day, $650 billion of market cap was wiped off the so-called Magnificent Seven stocks, 7 of the biggest performing tech stocks in the U.S. Apple closed 4.8% lower at $209.27, while chip giant Nvidia dropped more than 6% to close at $100.45. Ahead of these plunges, South Korea's stock market experienced a Black Monday with shares falling more than 8% on Monday, while Japan's stock market also suffered its biggest ever one-day loss. This comes as recent data show that the U.S. unemployment rate reached a nearly 3-year high in July, stoking fears of a slowdown in the world's largest economy. Amid rising recession fears, there are expectations of aggressive rate cuts from the Federal Reserve. Jeremy Siegel, professor emeritus of finance at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business, suggested the Fed should hold an emergency meeting to lower rates by 0.75 percentage points, believing the rate should be around 3.5%. On the other hand, some believe that an urgent rate cut by the Fed does not seem necessary.
We went from months and months of when's the Fed going to ease and how much are they going to ease this year and next, to one where growth is plunging and the Fed is behind the curve. So we've had a change in attitude. It's been based on some weakening data. In our opinion, is the economy slowing? Yes. Is there any need for an emergency Fed cut? Doesn't look like it in our opinion.
The market is expected to reassess the risk of a recession based on the new unemployment claims data coming out this Thursday. 신하영, Arirang News.
The U.S. is to award SK Hynix $450 million in grants to help the tech giant build an advanced packaging plant in Indiana. According to the U.S. Commerce Department, a preliminary memorandum of terms has been signed with SK Hynix to provide $450 million worth of direct funding and access to $500 million in government loans based on the U.S. CHIPS and Science Act. Washington is also to grant a 25% tax credit for the tech giant's investments in the country. SK Hynix announced in April that it would invest a little less than $4 billion to build an advanced chip production facility to produce next-generation memory chips in the U.S. state. The amount in exports of agricultural goods in the first 7 months this year reached a record high of some $5.7 billion. That's up over 9% from the same period a year ago, according to the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs on Tuesday. By item, exports of instant noodles topped the list at $700 million, up 34%. Exports of instant rice increased by 46%, and kimchi exports rose by 4%. By country, the U.S. topped the list, followed by China and Japan. A set of measures has been unveiled to support vendors affected by the recent payment delays of two major e-commerce platforms. Starting Friday, liquidity support will be provided, worth over 500 billion won in total. Issue reports.
On Tuesday, the South Korean government announced comprehensive measures for those suffering financial damage from the ongoing crisis involving e-commerce platforms Tmall and WeMakePrice.
The government is committed to minimizing damage to consumers and vendors by maximizing available resources.
From Wednesday, vendors waiting for delayed payments can apply for an up to 1-year extension of the maturity of their existing loans. And from Friday, vendors can apply for liquidity support with more than 300 billion Korean won, or roughly $218 million in total, being offered by the Industrial Bank of Korea and the Korea Credit Guarantee Fund. This support is given in the form of special low-interest loans at the minimum rate of 3.9%, at least 1 percentage point lower than the regular rate for small business owners. The owners can receive loans of up to the cost of the damage, or 3 billion Korean won, whichever is less. Also on Friday, another emergency loan totaling 200 billion Korean won, or $145 million, by two government agencies, the Small Enterprise and Market Service and the Korea SMEs and Startups Agency. Individual small business owners can apply to borrow up to 150 million won, and medium-sized business owners can apply for up to 1 billion won. For further support, some 20 related government and civil bodies are coming together to form an emergency response team. The Ministry of SMEs and Startups, the Financial Services Commission, and other bodies are operating consultation and information services for victims. They're also setting up special teams to prevent potential abuse of aid. The delayed refunds and payments by South Korean affiliates of Singapore-based e-commerce platform Q10 have caused market chaos in the country since early July. Since then, the sellers have been waiting for payment and customers for refunds on unshipped products or canceled services. Sources say the issue stems from a liquidity crisis at Q10 after its takeover of another shopping platform earlier this year. The estimated total cost of damage as of last week was over 274 billion Korean won, or around $200 million. 이시후, Arirang News.
Turning to the extreme weather as South Korea continues to experience high temperatures. Heat-related illnesses and even deaths are on the rise. An Sung-jin with the updates on the scorching heat wave.
South Korea swelters in an intense heat wave. As the scorching heat bakes the country, there were around 1,700 cases of heat-related illnesses reported over the past 11 weeks, and there have been 14 deaths as of August 4th. This is according to the Interior and Safety Ministry on Tuesday. In Seoul, a 71-year-old was found dead in her home on Sunday, while another woman in her 70s was also found dead while working in the fields in Jeollanam province. It's not only people that are suffering from the heat. Since early June, livestock including around 26,000 pigs and over 270,000 poultry have also died. Along with record-breaking temperatures, there's been short but intense rain across the country. The Korea Meteorological Administration on Tuesday stated that areas of Jeollanam province and Gyeongsang-buk-do province saw up to 100 millimeters of rain. Other areas such as Gyeonggi-do province also saw rain of up to nearly 90 millimeters. With heavy rain on Monday afternoon, lightning struck a water supply facility in Muan-gun County, Jeollanam province, temporarily cutting off water supply for some households. Other damage across the nation includes power outages and river flooding. Fire authorities have also received reports of fallen trees, flooding of houses, roads, and vehicles all over the country. The government has been monitoring and responding to heat-related issues, and as of Tuesday afternoon, the heat warning is still in effect. The KMA also cautioned that heavy rain showers accompanied by strong winds and thunder and lightning will continue amid the heat waves and tropical nights. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
The Biden administration is seeking to contain the risks of a direct hostile confrontation between Israel and Iran, as the latter pledges to retaliate against the recent assassination of a senior Hamas official in Tehran. Choi Min-jung reports.
U.S. President Joe Biden convened his national security team on Monday to discuss ways to prevent the crisis in Gaza from becoming a full-blown regional conflict. Biden said he and the vice president were briefed on developments in the Middle East. They received updates on threats posed by Iran, diplomatic efforts to de-escalate regional tensions, and preparations to support Israel should it be attacked again. Biden said they also discussed measures to defend U.S. forces and respond to any attack against its personnel. This comes as several U.S. personnel are believed to be injured after a suspected rocket attack at Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq. Though the source for the attack has not been identified, Iran-backed militant groups have been blamed for previous attacks against U.S. service members in the region. Meanwhile, Washington has been urging countries to tell Iran that an escalation is not in their best interests.
We are at a critical moment for the region, and it is important that all parties take steps over the coming days to refrain from escalation and calm tensions. Escalation is in no one's interest.
On Wednesday, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation is set to hold an emergency meeting in Saudi Arabia at the request of Iran. Foreign ministers of Arab nations will discuss the pressing concerns, including the recent killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh last week in Tehran. Iran will reportedly seek to convince other nations to support its plans to retaliate against Israel. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign ministry said Monday that Tehran has no intention to increase regional tensions, but vowed harsh punishment for Israel over the assassination of the Hamas leader. Iranian lawmaker Mohammad Hassim Osmani has even called for the assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
On the cultural front, renowned linguist Noam Chomsky once said, "Language is not just words, it's a culture, a tradition, a unification of a community." With a growing global interest in Korean culture, the demand for learning the Korean language is also increasing. Educators who are meeting this demand in various parts of the world have gathered in Korea to share their experiences. Our culture correspondent Song Yu-jin brings us their story.
When Bai Maganbetova Dilbar first started learning Korean 10 years ago, she never imagined where it would take her. A former student at the King Sejong Institute in Kazakhstan, she was drawn to the beauty of the language and now teaches at the very place where she picked it up. Now, she has become the first foreign national to win the grand prize, the highest honor at the World Korean Educator Conference's Outstanding Educator Award.
한국어는 제 일이고, 제 과거이고, 그리고 현재이고, 제 미래이라고 생각합니다. 네, 앞으로도 한국어를 더 열심히 공부하고 학생들에게 한국어를 더 재미있게 가르칠 수 있는 그런 선생님이 되고 싶습니다.
Every summer, hundreds of Korean language instructors from around the world gather in Korea for this conference.
The World Korean Educator Conference is a platform to honor teachers from King Sejong Institutes worldwide who work to spread the Korean language and Korean culture. It also provides training to enhance their teaching skills.
The King Sejong Institute, run by the King Sejong Institute Foundation under the Culture Ministry, is dedicated to teaching Korean language and culture to non-native speakers. With over 250 branches in more than 80 countries, the institute has seen a surge in students eager to learn Korean. This growing interest makes discovering the most effective teaching strategies crucial. Bai Magambetova wanted to make what she found challenging when learning Korean easier, so she decided to add a fun twist.
수업 시간에 조금 약간 5분, 10분 정도 게임을 하고 학생들에게 그렇게 어휘나 문법을 설명하거나 연습을 합니다.
Until Friday, these passionate instructors will learn and practice the latest techniques, including integrating the latest technology and trends like short-form content. One of the participants, Zanabek Begimai, was the first student of the King Sejong Institute in Kyrgyzstan, where she teaches now.
한국어를 가르쳐 주신 선생님들의 방식대로 제가 배운 것 그대로 그냥 가르치고 있는 것 같아요. 수업 중에 한국 관련 동영상 보여주거나 아니면 드라마 같은 거 조금씩 보여주고 아니면 노래들 있잖아요. 애기들이童謡.
The theme of this year's World Korean Educator Conference is Teaching Korean is a Wonderful Thing. Through this, participants will explore how to make learning Korean a truly wonderful experience for their students. 송유진, Arirang News.
In Paris, where the Olympics are in full swing, various Korean culture events, including K-pop, are catching the attention of the locals and tourists alike. Choi Soo-young takes a closer look.
Models wearing traditional Korean clothing hanbok appeared at Korea House located in Paris. 7 hanbok designers showcased their works inspired by the idea of a girl who participated in the 1900 Paris World Expo, returning to the city over 100 years later for the Paris Olympics. The designers reinterpreted outfits traditionally worn for weddings or coming-of-age ceremonies, receiving compliments from both visitors and the Paris fashion scene. Traditional Korean crafts also caught people's attention.
We put a lot of thought into presenting works that reinterpret Korean traditional culture, reflecting both its original and modern aspects, and considering how to approach it from a future perspective.
Outside Korea House, a replica of a Korean market street has been set up. Visitors can experience Korean culture as well as watch K-pop dance competitions. The booths selling tteokbokki, dumplings and chicken with beer are so popular that visitors often have to line up and wait. K-snack has become all the rage in Paris so much so that the daily supplies of 500 servings sell out quickly.
The food was absolutely great. The kimchi was really delicious. We didn't know much about Korea, but now we've learned more and want to visit Korea.
Korean literature events featuring young Korean and local writers and various Korean culture events took place across Paris. In Paris, Hallyu has become a new key trend. Choi Soo-young, Arirang News.
The K-pop boy group Stray Kids were among the headliners at the American 4-day music festival Lollapalooza Chicago. On Tuesday, their agency JYP Entertainment announced that Stray Kids performed a total of 21 songs at the event on August 2nd. They entertained tens of thousands of fans with their hit songs such as Super Ball, Lonely Street, and My Pace.
The group was chosen as the headliners for Chicago, marking their second time following last year's Lollapalooza Paris. Lollapalooza is a major music festival that began in Chicago in 1991 and now takes place around the world, including in France, Chile, and Brazil. A tragic fire in June at a factory after several lithium batteries exploded has reignited debate over the risks and rewards, if you will, of lithium batteries and their potential alternatives. Jin reports.
The batteries that we commonly use at home are single-use, non-rechargeable batteries. These are known as primary batteries. There are various types of batteries, from alkaline batteries to mercury batteries and even sodium batteries. But because of their long life, lithium batteries are the most common type of primary battery, recently replacing alkaline cylindrical batteries. The energy-efficient primary lithium batteries are mostly used in smart grid meters, communications equipment, and small home appliances like cameras. The problem is the vulnerability of lithium if it is exposed to moisture. Even a single drop of water is enough for lithium to catch fire.
When lithium touches water, not only does it cause a sudden exothermic reaction, but it also heats the surrounding area and generates hydrogen gas.
That generated hydrogen gas doubles the risk of explosion. But despite such risks, lithium is still the main material used in batteries because of its high energy density. With the same volume and mass, lithium batteries contain more energy and they are lighter in weight, increasing their portability. When made into a primary battery, the lithium batteries are light and have the advantage of lasting longer than other batteries. When made into a secondary battery, lithium batteries can be charged at high speed without compromising battery capacity.
The reason we use lithium batteries is because they have relatively high voltage compared to other batteries, while providing high energy capacity.
For instance, while existing batteries can deliver 1.5 volts, lithium batteries provide a higher voltage of about 3.7 volts, which is why more lithium batteries are used. But scientists around the world, including those in Korea, are working to develop an alternative to these lithium batteries. So far, alternatives include sodium-ion batteries, zinc-air batteries, and vanadium redox batteries, which are all secondary batteries. But due to their energy density and price, experts say that these are all far from being the battery of choice in the industrial field. Jin, Arirang News.
With heatwave warnings in place in most parts of the country, tomorrow will be just as hot as today. As temperature and humidity levels soar, it will feel even hotter than it actually is. During heat waves, it's recommended to avoid going out between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. when temperatures are at their highest, and to drink plenty of water. There are continuous showers these days as well. Tomorrow, up to 60 millimeters of rain will pass over the country until the evening. Make sure to have an umbrella with you when heading out. Tomorrow morning will start off at least 25 degrees Celsius. It will move up to 34 in Daejeon and Gwangju. Daegu and Gyeongju, 35 degrees. There's more rain forecast for the Seoul metropolitan area this coming Thursday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world. That's all we have for today. Thank you for watching. Arirang News will be back at 9 a.m. Korea time.